Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my Real Board series, where, due to your continuing support on my Patreon, I think I've got a really interesting game for you today. Now, before we begin, let me define interesting. Interesting to me right now is games where you are getting a nice sense of there's Aji on a board and one player takes a lot of advantage of it. That is one thing that I'm focusing on my play right now, trying to get better, as always, as we all are. Well, most of us anyway. And as a result, I'm identifying the one part where I'm having trouble, in this case, utilizing Aji, and I'm trying to actively get better at that in my own game. As a result, it's what I'm looking for when I'm trying to actually get a game to review. Let's see, this past week or two, I've actually been focusing exclusively on professional versus amateur level play. The reason for that is usually the professional is very, very good at pointing out to the amateur exactly where they are going wrong each and every step of the way, and I really, really like that and want to concentrate on it. To make that To make matters even more interesting, we have a game between. I don't want to say Ke Jie. It's not how you pronounce his name. I've been yelled at recently for pronouncing it repeatedly Ke Jie, because it's not. It's more like Ka, not Ka. There's like, and even the end isn't like a hard E. It's anyway. You know who I'm talking about. Really strong professional level player against an amateur Don level player. So the question to my mind is, what are the differences in their play, and what is all of this Aji that White is actually seeing that maybe the amateur is not quite aware of? Alright, so we start off with amateur taking the 4-4 point. My newfound favorite pro offering up a variety of different openings to his opponent. If the amateur wishes to go and play something like this, for example, you're more than welcome to do so. We can take diagonal corner. The diagonal corner will obviously allow for a bit of a territorial fighty game, which would be extremely, let's just say, brave of you to do against one of the strongest up-and-coming professional level players in the world. Instead, minds his own business, focuses on the side, offering up potential mini, micro, and orthodox openings. Alright, let's see which one he wants to do. Whoops. That was a bad placement. There we go. Decides to take the orthodox for himself. Traditionally, we are going to do something on the left-hand side here, and sure enough, White decides to do exactly that. Don't really split anymore. We just approach the 4-4 for reasons that I'm sure we've gone over repeatedly. But in the off chance there's someone new to maybe my series or Go in general, we don't really split here anymore because it allows us to grab something like this later, which is generally regarded now as pretty good for black. So we usually don't want to do this. I mean, there's variation to try to get around this, like attaching to in the enclosure here. But even then, still pretty good for black, because now you're offering up fifth. You could fight this here. That's a little bit tricky, but overall, you're not really going to stop your opponent from getting exactly what they want to grab. So don't see it too often. Instead, we see the approach onto the 4-4. Black backs out. Could have pincered. This is completely fine as well. And sure enough, we see interesting moves from White. One thing that's kind of, I don't really want to say in style, but I'm going to use that word regardless. One thing that's kind of in style right now is not to just kind of back off or try to settle as you would see with one of these moves, Nowadays, we're seeing a lot of attempts to grab strength from strong positions, such as enclosures, as quickly as we can. Black responds, as you would expect. White backs off. Black connects. This way, if we drop down, then there's an extra forcing move here for white. And I suppose he felt that extra forcing move was a little bit too good for his opponent because we can just make this nice and quickly. Instead, we played here, and by playing here, we don't get that extra move in. So, when our opponent takes the side, which we know he's going to do, maybe the idea here is we can keep leaning, or maybe we can even attach and fight this later on. So I guess there's more aji here, I suppose, is Black's idea behind that. Black has Sente, approaches a corner. How do we know he's going to play the corner? Because this stone, this group over here is nice and strong. So is this one. We could lose Sente potentially by invading, but that just means that white gets to play an enclosure or a framework later on. We don't really want to do that. I mean, is invading and harassing that one stone really worth allowing our opponent to get an enclosure or a Fuseki on the left side of the board? Probably not. Probably not. So we approach. I drop stones. There we go. Now here's an interesting move. This is one move that's applying a little bit of pressure to black still, but not really much. Because you can see here that we still have plenty of room to actually get a base here, right? So as white, we're not going to just like back off and pretend that this is like really, really aggressive against this position because there's so much empty space. Black decides to change directions. I'm a fan of that. It takes 1, 2, 3 extra stones in order to actually kill off your approaching stone here. So you can change directions if you want. It's not like that stone's going anywhere anytime soon. Might as well. Sure enough, we split. Now, if the right was really, really large, we could do something like this. And by that, I mean maybe we already had, like, I don't know, some kind of wall here. Maybe we would just try to build up. I don't know. Right now, it's don't have a massive amount of area here, so he decides I'm just going to go ahead and settle, so he does. And here's where things get really interesting, because up to here, you know, anyone can be trained to play this way. I mean, you can program a bot to get to this position in the board into the game without really making a mistake. So the question is, where's all the aji in this position, and who's taking advantage of it first? That is the question. So here we lean. We know that our opponent's going to respond because he probably doesn't want to get cut through. That seems like a bad idea. White extends, and now we have a decision to make. What are we going to do? What are we going to do as black? Because we could connect, but that lets connection over. We could play here, because it lets connection over, obviously, and you're still undercut on both sides. We could try to fix our position, but now we're on the second line. We can be kept low. It's a bit uncomfortable. If they respond, there's now the throw in. If we extend up the Hani, there's the cut there. Bit of a trouble there as well. Black chooses to extend on up. Now, do you know what Aji is available in this position? Because how you continue is pretty much based on the Aji that you see here. And it's pretty straightforward, staring you directly in the face. Nothing complicated. Right now we can see that there's a push and a cut, right? Yeah. So there's the Aji there. First, white fixes, doesn't try to go and do weird push and cutting shenanigans, which might have been able to do. However, no reason to go all in because the push and the cut still work. And now we're also leaning on the change of direction stone. This stone right here is too close thickness. So this jump out here is actually doing two things at once. Protecting the cut points, so if we want to push through we can. That's cool. And last but not least, also setting up an attack for future. Alrighty then. Nice, calm play. I like. Let's defend against the push and the cuts. Push and the cut defended. Black decides time to get out. And now here's where you actually lost me. You actually lost me. I could not predict this. I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, so push and cut doesn't really work now. I mean, do we like play away now and like try to build that up? Not really using Aji at all. Do we bet that we can attack here? I don't know. I mean, it affords us a follow-up, right? But I don't know. So it's pretty straightforward where my thoughts were going. I was like, well, that seems okay right now. Let's just play elsewhere. But the problem with this, if we play elsewhere, you can imagine the next few moves being really uncomfortable for us. Can't you? Just a little bit. I mean, as white's shape here, I mean, how do we fix this? Do we like go into here? If so, what about the Aji that still is lingering around? I mean, that's about to get cut, right? I mean, am I crazy? Is this not about to get seriously cut? Don't we have to like care about all the Aji here? Are we not alive locally? That seems like an issue. You wouldn't want to play it now, otherwise. Like if you bend over here, then your opponent might just, seal you in and be happy. So we have to come out first before we're sealed. But then white takes this, which also has the added benefit of saying, look at you, your cut works again. So we did this to defend, but we decided that we didn't want to actually be surrounded, so we didn't defend our defense of yield Aji down here. So white's just calmly like, well, I guess I'll just take your move back. I mean, if you weren't going to defend it, why didn't you just, like, escape in the first place? So I like that a lot. I like that a lot. That's, like, the first subtle thing that's really cool in this game. Because a lot of people would be like, no, I need to, like, I need to, like, attack here, or maybe get an enclosure here, or I'm kind of weak here, do I defend? Like, just this gote, I'm going to build, this gote, I'm going to defend, this gote crap. It doesn't really threaten your opponent in the future, right? But if we're going to stop him from making territory, we kind of have to do something that has potential to threaten them later. So that threatens to do something to him later. First cool move I liked. Black, on the other hand, is not about playing slow. He's trying to play a bit quicker. Playing a bit quicker. He says, I'm not going to bother with this right now. I'm going to launch an attack against you because I got this, I got that, you've defended. Okay. This next move, I don't even know how I feel about this next move. I really don't. mean, immediately you're probably thinking, well, you know, we can do this and then maybe kick, but you know, making our opponent stronger. I don't know. We could pincer from here, but I'd be only too happy as black here to change in directions because this is an over concentration. Maybe even just jump out. I mean, I could see that being a thing too. And what are you gonna do? Like play something like this, and then something like, congratulations, you've just been surrounded. Claim your prize. Maybe here instead. Yeah, probably there instead. The other way might leave like the poking and the coming out like in a vulgar manner that may actually work. So what do? Do we just back off then? And be like, you're right, man, my stone's dead. That would be insanely large. We can't back off now. Holy crap. Who cares about this? We just got that. Well, you're gonna like, I don't know, walking over, 2 points over there. We're just gonna go back and like pick up this. We're gonna like harass you over there. No. But it's interesting that this is a point that you would take, right? You wouldn't just jump out and be like, okay, we're good now, that stone's toast, because it's not. That stone would come out, and then you wouldn't be really sure what to do now. I mean, the move that you would take to try to kill off that stone is that shoulder hit. So that's one of the first ways we can actually look for where a good move might, for us might be. It's like, well, what does my opponent want to play? My opponent wants to play, get that off the board. My opponent wants to play here. Like, well, does that do anything for me? Well, it lets me come out a little bit quicker. It lets me lean on this if I want to. If my opponent doesn't respond, we can enclose. If I just jump out, I'm under severe attack because now I've just given him like this to cut through, so I can fix my shape, I guess. But oh god, what am I doing to myself? I mean, I guess I'm gonna play here now, and then we probably don't want to do that. And then I guess where it's a bamboo joint is running away, that doesn't seem like a good idea, right? That seems pretty bad. So we're definitely not playing that move. This one, that is. And this is kind of small, kind of slow. So yeah, interesting move. And by that, I mean we're playing here and there. There we go. So that's an interesting move. It also allows us to like throw in and connect pretty solidly. Black, of course, is going to fight this because those are just 2 stones, and he's an aggressive player. Chances are, if you are a player who manages to get into a tournament against professionals, you didn't get there being passive. White comes out. Black doesn't want to be surrounded, so he comes out too. And you can picture that being like a really good move for white. Now here's where things get really interesting. The kick here I wasn't expecting completely, but we're trying to make it certain that he can't really get this, right? Because that is actually a shape that pretty much almost lets you live, right? That's just like, dude, I'm alive. Attack is firmly over onto you, not really onto me, so what are you gonna do? So we don't want that shape made. So we kick. Black says, I'ma defend myself. But I'm not really sure what he's defending himself from. I guess he figures that if we connect, I guess he's hoping that there's going to be a connection here. And then he's going to play here. Then we can honey and play this, force a defense, and then like move on out. But white's just like, no, you played here. That's okay. I'm just gonna go underneath. Black pushes through. White is happy to connect. It's actually a pretty nice sized corner there now too, because we've got like territory in here, we're picking up points over here. Black got to cut off a stone. Darn. Does have some influence though. He is picking up some influence. In recognition of the influence, he decides to try and do a little bit of surrounding action. White has to extend because black could save this stone right now. And then if we kept trying to go here, this kind of sucks. It's too much agi, right? If we play here, that's now threatening a whole bunch of bad stuff. So white plays here in defense of this move. That's now threatening to cut through as well. So we defended ourselves in Sente, which was very, very nice, because it lets us get a large move. Such as here. So alright. In this game already, we've seen two kind of different ways that a professional has just sought to take advantage of some agi against his opponent. First, we saw down in here, like this one little Atari, Atari of one stone, something you might overlook in your own games. Kind of saw how that was like actually pretty good against this group over here. Unsettling it some more. Settling zone stones. And made attacks over here possible. Like this is a threat because we played here. If we didn't play here, then you can go back and live over here or get out. There's Miai. So you can probably like ignore some of this because you have the two available to you. So you don't have the two available to you, you kind of have to jump out. You can't let yourself be surrounded, so that was all very important for this fight. Then we saw like attempts to push through. It's like, is that stone really important? No, I'm just going to go ahead and trade it for this one in a large corner instead. Very, very nice. I like that one as well. Black now has to do something, so he decides, alright, I'm going to start here. Now, this move broke my head completely, because as a teacher, something that I found my opponents doing a lot of the time is not playing here and not playing here, but rather playing here. And I asked, like, why are you trying to play there? Like, what is your goal in that diagonal? And they're like, well, I'm just trying to just trying to kill you. Like, you're trying to do what? Like, I'm just trying to kill your stone. It's like, no, you can't do that because there's too much agi. I mean, there's like, you can just put a stone off the board. That works too. And you can attach. You can still come out and attach. I mean, you're not killing that stone. So, bad idea. And if you're interested in influence, you might be better off playing something like this. If you want to keep your territory over here, better do something like this. But white's playing here. Okay. So white's playing there. Forcing black to live and get influence, I guess. I guess the idea here is we're just going to offset this with that. I don't know. It's very unusual. It's very unusual. It does allow this, though, which I would have thought is not a good thing to do. Because now, I guess you have to, like, just drop down here and let those two stones go. Which, sure enough, white is doing. It's like, kick. Further sacrifice. Now if we connect there, we might be able to go back and harass corner. So I guess black decides that he wants to get this in first. So we got that before yield connection. Alright. Now where's large move? We're playing kind of simple right now. Playing a little bit simple. And I like simple. I'm a fan of simplicity. But where, since we have Sente, is a simple move to play now? Well, for that, we look at weak groups. Are there any on the board? Not really. Not really. Not really. Not really. Not really. Definitely not. Okay, so no real weak groups on the board right now. I mean, arguably, you can play something like this. That's a bit slow. If this is still a problem, a worry, after your diagonal and your descent, then one of those moves was like terribly wrong. So what do we do now? Look for largest point. Well, we've got large point here, and we've got large point down here. Which one's easier to use for us? Well, we've got this little bit of a wall here. That's points for here. We've gave black a bit of thickness over here, so he wants this point as well. So you want it, he wants it, versus, I don't know, it's not really too sexy over here. I mean, black might want it, but we don't, so we can like cross that one off the board and play over here. Black's like, if you will, I will go and resurrect my stone. No resurrections today. Sorry, all out of resurrections. Defends the stone. Now you realize that we're not actually trying to resurrect it, we're just trying to sacrifice it. So that's what we're going to try and do. Make certain that we're nice and fine. Looking like we're trying to get laddered and stuff, so we're going to make tables. And looks like we're okay for now. We got some extra we got some extra influence. And bam! Black is looking to make a huge area. Oh man, is that scary. And this is what set me over the top. How white handles this reduction that has to be made. That picked the game for me right there, man. That was like, yep, we're doing that. So, where in the heck do we find Aji to reduce this? Because we're not going to just like be like, I got an area 2. It's like, that's not alive. That's not dead yet. And you know, this kind of crap is turning scary. So we are reducing that. But how? How do we reduce this area? How do we reduce? How would you reduce? Now, if you're looking for moves, keep thinking simple. We're looking for simple stuff. Simple, 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 all day, every day. That's all we're doing. So if we're thinking simple, we're looking at either shoulder hit of the low stone. That's a really great way to reduce. Or Aji. This is threatening a direct capture of 2 stones immediately unless we get a response. So it's getting a response. We can start there. Forcing move. Hoorah. Atari. Connect. And extend. Black is going large. He's like, this area, man, it's all mine. What can I say? I just beat you. Because that would actually probably be like a loss. If we could imagine like something like this, like, oh no, can't let that happen. Like, oh no, can't let that connect up. We can see like the territory that white's getting here, not impressive. this can still grow. So if we're looking at a board where we can't touch that, we're dead. Game over. Game over, man. Game over. So we've got to do something here. Time to reduce. Got our forcing move in first. Now we're going to shoulder hit. Our opponent extended. And now here's something that I wouldn't have considered. He does as well. To be fair, it looks like he wants this kind of deal, right? We can still get a bit of a base here. And we've got forcing moves. So maybe it might be easier to live in here than I was giving it credit for. Let's see what black does. Black's like, nope. Keeping you undercut. Go ahead and extend for that base, sir. I'm going to poke it out. You extend, you're just going to get punched. It's like, alright, I'm going to extend. Ha ha ha, I didn't read that one, did you? And for anyone curious about like this real quick, I should bear in mind that if we do here, we're not going to actually take the one stone. We're just going to, we're not going to like give up the 2 stones or anything weird like that. We're just going to play here. And then black gets to Atari and then fix. So all that Aji is like nice and fixed, so we don't want to play that, right? Da-da-da-da-da-da. So we can take like the 1 stone here as white, but we can't really use that right now to break in, so. Alright. So instead, white goes this way. Black's not going to let him just get away with whatever he wants. Going to play the Hane. White plays the Hane back because if anything weird happens, we got Atari, Atari, and then those stones are dead. So, seems legit. Black connects. Now, again, important move. Whenever you have Sente in an area that you're trying to live in or reduce, we need to find those forcing moves. Don't just be like, alright, I mean, I got like 2 stones that are kind of a wall, and I'm just gonna like connect. Am I alive now? What do you think? Success? No, you need more forcing moves because you haven't really done anything besides piss off your opponent at this point. And if you give them Sente, they'll kill you. They will demonstrate that they feel a certain way about that. So, forcing move. Biz is, on the other hand, now threatening to kill all the things. And it looks like black does not mind. He's like, okay. I'm just going to sacrifice a couple of stones to keep the greater good. Because that's what I thought he was going to do, though. To be fair, I thought that was weird. Sounds like that those stones be gone, and those stones, and maybe an Atari in the corner. I don't know what else. But no, he's got something else in mind. He's trying to control white's shape. I'm going to play here first. Get the most out of everything. Now if we take, we can Atari and connect and we're fine. So we have to bend. And now we get to connect. So alright. We are sacrificing for the greater good. Looks like we did pretty well here. We killed 2 stones in Sente. And now all is well. Right? We have Sente. We reduced, so we're going to take a large point for ourselves. This stone's now pretty much toast. Poke. If you think all of the awesome Aji in this game is gone, by the way, you're in for a treat. Sacrifice. Now we could play here, but I'm just gonna turn this up to a really tiny area. While black continues to grow. So black would have this. White's got a couple of stones over there, large corner, and whatever this is worth, which is kind of falling by the wayside. And what's interesting about this game is a lot of these instances, black hasn't really been defending or going out of his way to ensure that there's no Aji lingering with a lot of his stones. Like, even now, he's just like, you know what? I'm sure that's fine over there. Let's go and reduce. And White's like, yeah, about that. This is interesting, because we're putting these stones in trouble again. These cutting stones, you don't want to underestimate them. Plus, these stones, large knight connection, and this has an obvious weak point. Even something as simple as this, not quite out of the woods yet. So we play here. Our opponent keeps us in. We go for a base and a threaten to cut through. So our opponent has to respond. Dropping down is not Sente, it just encourages an Atari, not good. This, on the other hand, is good because now we're threatening to cut off 3 stones. We could Hane, but then we give a free extension to our opponent. It's probably bad. You might even give a free cut to your opponent. If we Hane, we get cut, we Atari. Yeah, it looks like if you go and cut this and you're letting this stone get Atari with this move, at that point you're putting this in danger and that in danger. So he just backs off. He's like, alright, it looks like I'm getting eyes. I'll just take some life here, sir. Black says no, drop dead. Like, well, now can I live now? And White says no, drop dead. Or Black says no, drop dead. So we cut. Hey, finally. Stone to go in the lid. Black says that's not Sente. I'm going to poke that out too. White says go for it. Black says I see what you're doing. You're not going to get me in no shenanigans over there. White says you got me. You got me. No shenanigans, sir. Too good for me, man. Too good for me. That's getting kind of sketchy though, isn't it? Because we've got like almost no liberties here and this cut point. And that in Sente, this is getting a little bit sketchy in the corner. So Black says, no sketchy. I'm good. Not gonna just keep killing off more stones in my corner. I'm fine. You're dead. Get out my game. But is he really dead? What do you think? Is he really dead in that middle? Is he really dead? Looking to cut 2 different ways simultaneously. 1 defense. 2 defense. Okay. So far, disaster averted. Now, do you know what the next play is here? It's so simple. It's like basic life and death. Like, how do you try to live? Well, you enlarge your eye space. It's like, all right, I'm gonna try to live again. You see where this is going? Black's like, no, you're gonna die. Which technically is true. I mean, you can Atari here now and cut these stones off over there. But you might not want to do that at this point. Because this Hane is huge. We're again threatening an eye. We're trying to enlarge our eye space. Which black pokes out again. But you can see what's going on here. You can see what's going on here. It's like, oh my god, it's all going to no places. Oh, actually, no, I lied. You can't actually cut through there, otherwise it's going to drop down and kill you. Sorry, my bad. Not even that works. Instead, we have a connection and a stone that goes firing across the board. My bad. I think we were there. Yes, we were. Trying to connect up our stones. That threatens to cut through both of your stones simultaneously. At that point, you can't stop it. You can't stop it. If we don't play here, that is all gonna die, or that is all dead, right? And if we do play here, we cannot continue this nonsense. So recognizing that when the peep was played, our opponent's alive, and we now have a wonderfully weak group in the middle, nothing we can do. Well, no, I lied. There is one thing we can do. We can resign, and so black does. White wins the game fairly easily. Black was bent on reduction. Black was bent on attacking and not protecting his weak points. But yeah, what makes a professional player? You don't protect your weak points. He can find ways to use them all. That was crazy. This was an absolutely crazy game. So I was looking at that top and I was like, man, how are you going to reduce that? Like, didn't you play a little bit too slow? I don't know, you gave up a lot over here. We're just not getting enough elsewhere. I don't know, man, that seems kind of crazy. I mean, there's follow-ups over here, don't get me wrong. We can go and like take these two stones whenever we want, but that's kind of slow too. So yeah, I was curious to know how this was like actually gonna play out. I would not have thought you could just be like, even after this section, I would not have thought that we can just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna extend my stones and then be fine. I'm just gonna live in there or kill him. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Crazy, crazy, crazy game. But one I'm going to be looking over a lot. Because a lot of basic ideas here. Basic ideas like, let's just expand our eye space. Oh, look. He had to kill us again, so we got to come out. And we saw it happen like repeatedly. We saw it happen, yeah. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. So, I hope you found this to be a really, really nice game as well. Thank you everyone for continuing support on Patreon. If you have not actually already done so, you can check that out. Links down below. It directly goes to supporting this particular series and all the ones that I'm doing for both your entertainment and enjoyment. See you guys next time. Hope you all have a lovely week until then. Take care, everyone.